All right, I'm getting organized here, getting my shirt fixed. Apologize, but I'm backwards here and it feels like I'm fixing it the right way. Okay, we've been discussing agriculture, maybe a little bit of agriculture history. We have come a long way in agriculture, more than any country in the history of the world. We're able to feed more people than anybody in the history of the world. And a lot of that has to do with advancing science, understanding the earth, stewardship, uh, advanced technology, and just hard work on the farm. You go back, a little bit here and think about what farmers went through before we had modern machinery. You're talking a wood plow, then it became a steel plow. Everything was done pretty much by hand. You milk cows by hand, you cut wood by hand, you did everything by hand. You cut up your meat, slaughtered an animal and cut it up and put it in the smokehouse. Uh, it was a very hard day. You fed chickens, you plucked your own chickens to feed your family and hope for good weather. You went out and weeded fields with a whole hoe that you sharpened and sharpened and sharpened, and that was kind of your weed control. If you had any fertilizer, you put it on in the row by hand or on the back of a wagon. You'd throw it out on a shovel and try and spread it out. Lime the same way for pH balance. We didn't do a lot of soil testing back then, but the advent of a tractor and steam engine thrashers moved this country forward pretty far, because you used to have to shock wheat, tie it up in shocks, and then bring it to the steamers and run it through the steamers. When we started having self-propelled thrashers that were pulled behind tractors, that made life a lot better and a lot easier for farmers. And the inclusion of hybrid development in relation to making better varieties, whether it was corn hybrids. Soybeans really didn't come about, in my opinion, until probably post World War II, and good hybrid corn didn't come till probably the 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Started having better and better issues. Chemicals were also, and different types of fertilizer were introduced in the 50s. But as we advanced on tractors, first we had steel wheel, then rubber wheel tractors, and they were small, and they all had their own implements uh, that I talked about here in the last session. But growing those machines, growing those farms, being able to work through, having better weed control that we started, and insect control started in the 50s. And we started knocking a lot of these issues out to be more productive. Uh, the advent of better hybrids and better seed and better germination and higher quality probably moved us about as far forward as anything in history, in my opinion. Certification, having certification standards, making sure we weeded out the weak and kept the strong in relation to plants, and high yielding ones, and looked for disease and evaluated for those types of issues and monitored insects. And we had to use pesticides to be able to control that. Now, were some of them good on the insects? Sure, but were some of them have issues in the past? Probably did. But that was a new science, and we were moving forward from that perspective. Um, you come into the 60s, of course, we had a lot of different programs. Let me go back a little bit. We had programs related to farm programs, the AAA, Agriculture Adjustment Administration. Um, that turned into the Farm Service Agency. Then you had, way before around World War One, you had the farm credit system established, which helped farmers. You had many different soil and water conservation and NRCS, or uh, Natural Resource Conservation Service, as it's known today, helped bring about better stewardship of our soils and better stewardship. And that was all due to the Dust Bowl and a lot of the issues we were having related to that. And we moved forward in improving our farming practices dramatically. So I'm kind of jumping around here. But the advent of high quality production equipment helped self-propelled combines. They were cabless at first, and then they became cab. You could have a cab and maybe a fan or some sort of air blower on it. Tractors the same way, they were cabless. And then you had hoods over the tops to kind of knock out the sun. Then you'd had air conditioning. Now you got computers inside tractors and combines to be able to help you move forward in precision agriculture in that capacity. So, the old saying, we've come a long way, baby. That was an old commercial back when I was a young person. We have come a long way, and we have done a very good job of feeding people. We have done an excellent job of preserving natural resources and soil. Uh, a lot of argument in relation to trade, a lot of argument issue to government payments in agriculture, but you have to realize, without any questions asked, the foundation of our economy has always been agriculture and still is today. They're 1 in 10 jobs, as I've said before, plus they're the largest export that we have in this country. We export more agriculture products than any other products manufactured in the history of the United States at this time. So we've always been an exporter. We've always been involved in international trade. There's always been politics involved with international agricultural trade. But we've also helped a lot of people kind of get on their feet through Foreign Ag Service and other programs to be able to farm by themselves and farm uh, in a more efficient manner. And maybe sometimes went against traditions in some of those countries, but it ended up being more efficient where they could be more self-sustaining. I think, people need to realize what the contribution of the United States has been just in agriculture alone, not military, not all these other issues that we discuss and talk about, but just in agriculture alone. We've been predominant in what we do compared to the rest of the world. Now, I've made this comment before. Today, a person, just an average person, eats better than kings and queens did 200 years ago. And I mean a lot better, as far as healthier, more nutritious, and tastes good, and more selection, and a safer food format also. So we've done pretty good in the last 200 plus years in relation to uh, what we've done as a country in ag. Thomas Jefferson and many of the founding fathers were involved in agriculture, but specifically Thomas Jefferson understood what farmers meant to America and what it meant to the future of America. And today, that statement of Thomas Jefferson still remains the fact. We have about 2 million farmers in this country. They're 1 in 10 jobs. Like I said again, they're the largest export. So think about all these issues, because you go into a grocery store, you see all these different types of cereals, different types of issues that you can select from in vegetables and fruits and canned goods and fresh market and everything else. And understand that we are lucky that we have this abundance and this ability to produce this in this country and for millions of other people across the world. Keep in mind that this keeps getting forgotten. You may hear a scare of something like salmonella or something like that occasionally on something. But it wasn't like we've had this nationwide for many, many years in that capacity. We've overcome many different issues. I think widespread hunger we've overcome. I think we've overcome a lot of major insects like boll weevil and cotton, um, many other types of insects by technology and genetics resources. So I think that when you're sitting down at a table and when you're pulling up your chair and when you look at that, thank a farmer for what's put on your table or put it in front of you at a restaurant or put in front of you at a school lunch or put in front of you at breakfast. Uh, the main issue here is without agriculture, farming, this country would not be a superpower. It would not be what it is today if farmers wouldn't have took chances in research and in science and in moving the bar forward to be a better producer. And this is generations. This just isn't one individual or a dozen individuals. This is generations of farmers that decided to do that. So I'll continue this discussion. I have more on agriculture. Again, heirloompopcornseedcompany.com is my website. I have several books there. I am working on another one called The Farmer and the Seedsman. I haven't got it finished. I'm a ways away from it. I have several books on popcorn, getting back to good health, popcorn, healthy eating, one kernel at a time. You can get that on Amazon Kindle, or you can order it from me by going to the website. Uh, Also, I have Popcorn A Journey, a history and evaluation of over 100 heirloom seed popcorn varieties. And you can get that on Amazon Kindle, and you can also order that from Heirloom Popcorn Seed Company.com. So, and I have children's books on popcorn, several of them, again, are on Kindle and Amazon Kindle, and also involved, you can order them from Heirloom Popcorn Seed Company.com. So, continue to look at those. I have other books that I didn't put on the website that are cowboy books, Western books, kind of pulp fiction. Um, I've wrote books on other subject matters such as regional economic community development, and I wrote a book in relation to an alternative crop and the struggles of the 2014 or 16 Farm Bill with industrial hemp when I was working at North Carolina State University. So check out some of those books on Amazon Kindle. If you can't get it on Kindle, write me and we'll see if we can get some of those to you. They're inexpensive books. And I just want people to learn about agriculture, learn more of what we're about and what we're doing here to provide a high quality product for the American public. See you next time. Happy popping.